Hey, what's up? What's on my mind tonight is the topic at hand is, do you really know what's wrong with your country? Do you really know where the problems lie with the world that you live in? Or are you the kind of person that says things because you've heard things, and that is why you formulate your opinion and your point of view? I say this all the time. Everything is based around the family. No matter what anybody else says, everything is based around the family. This video is not going to be long tonight. Alright, so the thing that trips me out about people is that I'm 35 years old, okay? So several groups of people, obviously, from the time of I was born till today, went to elementary school, went to middle school, went to high school, had to go to college, had to have student loans, had to borrow money to get a house, had to borrow money to get a business. All right? In order for those people to get all those things, legislation had to be passed. Everybody had to accept their fair share of all the responsibilities towards those things. And as a result, the debt stayed down, the bills stayed down, they don't have a lot of issues. Those people get old. Now they decide they don't want to have kids. Their parents get old. They decide, hey, I shouldn't have to pay for this stuff anymore. You should carry your own weight. What the heck? You mean to tell me that you done put this world in debt for 18 to 20 years because of your kids, but you don't see the purpose in putting the money up for my kids? Man, please. I'm gonna say this straight up. I've been paying taxes since I was 13 years old, so I can get my own tax refund. I used to get mad and tell my mom, don't tax, don't, I'm not putting that down because I want a tax refund. So I've been doing this since I was a kid. And my thought about this BS is that as a 13-year-old boy, I was paying into my own stuff. I was paying into your kids' stuff. I don't care how much money you think should come out of anybody else. I was paying into yours. And now it's time for my nieces to go to college. Now it's time for my nieces to go to elementary school and get an education. Now it's time for me to adopt and get some kids into my life and they go to education. And you guys want to cut spending on education, and you be the same dumb idiots that think that you're going to be bringing freedom to a foreign country because you listen to all this babble about terrorism in those countries. Never does it go into your mind that we started all the crap in those nations in the first place. You're just going to go over there and you're going to fix them for all the things that they've done. Man, get the heck out of here. Sewage. In order for us to have transport of your doo-doo from your house to the sewage treatment facility, they need to put it into the ground. And just because it's in the ground doesn't mean that's the end of the story. They need to keep up the roads, just specifically for the sewage. They need to take care of the sewers, because if you're one of those people that eat a lot of meats, a lot of fried foods, a lot of oily substances, the sewers are going to be filled with fat. So they're going to have to clean all your crap out of the sewers. You don't want to pay your taxes for that? You don't feel that you should put your money towards that, so everybody else have to deal with the fact that you didn't do your due diligence to make sure everything was taken care of? You listen to Donald Trump and all these other people about what's going on in the world. You don't realize that your federal taxes don't get paid because the federal government looks at how much you're paying for state taxes first, and they broker a deal with you. They give you a forgiveness. So if you technically owe $1,000 in federal taxes and you pay $500 in state taxes, they subtract $500 from your federal taxes. You should research that. That's pretty interesting. And that has nothing to do with the fact if you put your gas and your mileage and all the maintenance on your vehicle, all the maintenance on buying clothes for work, hell, buying food for work. If you know how to maintain your junk, you can get all these tax refunds. But that's not the point, man, because when you do that, the debt doesn't disappear. It goes back into the national debt. It goes back into the state debt. It goes back into the city and the town debt. And interest gets locked on top of that. And that happens every single year. Every single year. So your taxes get increased. This thing doesn't disappear. But some of these tax guys will have you try to throw that bullcrap in front of your face as if that's true. But then nobody can understand why the national debt is so high, why the state debt is so high, why the city debt's so high. Nobody can understand why people are having so much trouble, because when they were my age, they didn't have all these problems, you ignorant bastards. Listen, man. You gotta know the simple stuff. And you gotta formulate thesis on simple things. You cannot listen to people who claim they're educated, because they can never say anything that will be able to prove what's going on in the world. It has nothing to do with anything outside of rich people writing larger checks, rich people not paying taxes, rich people not holding their end of the bargain. As a result of these people doing this stuff, the average person making $20,000 plus a year has to spend 2 to 3 times more outside of the houses than they do to try to make the little money that they can get so that their kids are not on the streets. And the truth is that their kids are not being raised to the best of their potential because you cut all the funding from all education programs in the area. You done cut the programs for health care. You done cut programs for music. You done cut programs for arts and crafts. You done cut programs for the homeless facilitation, because now you tell everybody you can get some federal this, federal that. In the same breath, you say you don't want the Fed having anything to do with how you deal with things in your neck of the woods. Do you really know what's going on in the world, or are you just talking? I'm very curious from many different standpoints, many different types of family thesis, as well as faiths. What do you know is going on in the world, or are you just talking trash? Are you just running your mouth because you heard somebody else say something? I'm very curious. But whatever. I'm going to post this in one of the groups that I'm in and see where that conversation goes.